What's up YouTube, and welcome back to Homebrew Subaru. In this episode I'm going to finish up the Forester, going to load on the wheels and the mud flaps and everything else I have for it, and hopefully go for a drive. So the first thing I want to talk about is the rims that I'm using. They're actually off a 99 Forester S, something that I owned like 9 years ago. I've had them sitting up on that shelf for years, and those are actually WRX rims that are off the RS, I think. So these 99 Forester rims, I had in mind that maybe one day I will do something with the Forester and do a lift on it, and these would be good 16-inch rims to use because they're probably the strongest 16-inch rim that Subaru offered. Now the first step was to actually get all the clear coat off of them. It was peeling quite badly in some areas, and I knew I was going to have to get off the rest of it because I didn't want it starting to lift at a later time and take paint off. So once I had all of them cleared off or cleaned up, I decided at that point, before painting, I would just get the tires mounted, and then I could go about priming and painting without worrying about the new paint being scored by a tire machine or someone working on it. So this is how they ended up turning out. It's more of a gunmetal type of finish. I'm very pleased with the appearance of them. It's exactly how I pictured them, and the coverage from the paint worked out really well. I did probably 2 coats on each wheel, really heavy, and they're just going to look amazing on the Forester. The tires I ended up deciding on are Cooper Discoverer AT34S in a 215/70 R16. This should allow me a little bit of extra room around the tire, so I can really kind of figure out if there's something in the future I want to go bigger with. I'm pretty confident a 225/70 R16 would fit on. Likely a 215/75 R16 would also fit on. Now I went with the Coopers over Toyos. I was looking at Open Countries to do the same job, but after looking at the ratings and the cost, I had a feeling that these Cooper Discoverer AT3s would be suitable for winter driving. They've got a lot of siping, a lot of decent channeling, and some fairly deep lugs. Now, being an all-terrain tire, they will be suitable for driving on the trails. They just won't be as aggressive as some of the other brands. Their tread designs seem to be a little bit more aggressive than these ones. These may be very well quieter on the highway and might not have as much rolling resistance, and maybe save me $1 or $2 on fuel. In addition to the tires, I have some extras. I've actually purchased some Rally Armor mud flaps. These weren't as easy to find for the Forester for some reason at a good price, and then I ended up overpaying them because they went through some kind of eBay global international shipping program, and they put like $40 of tariffs on these because they're plastic. Wheel spacers to go along with these wheels to space them out a little bit. These are actually 25 mil and 20. 25s for the rear and 20 for the front. Kind of evens out the Subaru stance, whether it's an Impreza or a Forester. I've got the spline drive wheel nuts. These are Gorilla brand. I've had these ones on the Forester for close to 3 years now. They're just starting to show little bits of rust coming out of them. Still the best wheel nut that I've ever bought. The exhaust needs a repair. The rear flange on the catalytic has rotted away. I'm going to try and use this split flange to do the repair and hold it all together. I've got a new donut gasket to put in there, some new spring bolts. This Castrol Syntrax Limited Slip LSD 7590 gear oil, but this is all the place actually seems to stock anymore, so it's not like it's gonna break anything. It's good for LSDs, and I don't have any in this thing. And then just a couple little extras. I got something so I can air down if I absolutely need to, a strap so I can tug on someone or get tugged out. I bought this little because I already have a receiver on the Forester. It's a class 2, but only 1 1/4 inch shaft, so I bought this 1 1/4 inch hitch, just so if I want to get tugged out I can put a D-ring on here and get a good pull on the thing to get me pulled out of something or tug someone out of something. And then the WeatherTech floor mats, I'll just pull these out quickly. Now these actually popped into my mind last year when I was in Haida Gwaii, and that first day with the really bad rainstorm and I was getting in and out of the Forester. I was thinking I would like to have these rubberized mats that just catch all the water. I'll have them for winter, and just seems like a good option for the Forester. So I kind of finally broke down a few months back. I've had these for a little while sitting around, but now it's time to put them in once I get this thing back on the road. And then something I've actually forgot about these Rally Armor mud flaps is I ended up getting only one front flap and 3 rears. Fortunately, they packaged the side that I need, and the template is basically the same. All I really need to do is just trim down this edge, and I can make another front from a rear. And I still don't even know if the tires are going to rip the mud flaps off. Okay, but I'm going to start putting some oil in, get the wheel spacers on, mud flaps attached if I can, and see what happens. I am making some pretty fast progress here. I've already got the rear brakes bled. I filled the rear differential. I have the wheel spacers on all 4 corners, and they're all torqued up as well. I'm just finishing filling up the transmission and starting to plan what I'm going to do with the exhaust. Now this exhaust I actually stole off a Legacy I had like 9 years ago, and I had to cut this bracket off and re-weld it on to initially get it installed on the Forester. And well, some of those welds, they started to pretty much leak and break open. So I've done another weld job on it, just globbed a bunch of welding onto it and gave it some high temp paint to kind of cover the welds. I'm not sure how long this is going to be on the Forester for. I'd really like to replace it with something stainless, not 3-inch exhaust, but you know, maybe try and get to a 2-inch exhaust or something. But I'm going to try and get this underneath and get the front of it fastened up and see what I can do with that. So I have the exhaust all finished, and I'll just give you a quick look at what this repair looks like. You can see the split flange on the backside there, just holding on to what's left of that pipe, and then the spring bolts. I had to actually cut the springs like a rung or 2 off of them just so I could get it to clamp up. And the new gasket, it's nice and tight. And I'll show you what I did to the rear. Now back here, this hanger had rotted off, so I literally just took a 1/2-inch bolt, rounded the head off so it'll go through the hanger, and welded it right back to where the body is. It's definitely not a good repair. I might have to address it at another point, but I really don't know how long this exhaust is going to stay on it. So as you can see, it's gotten quite late, but I'm finally finished. Got it down on 4 wheels. The alignment is really bad. The camber on the other wheel at the back is so positive, it's sticking out like here. But the amount of clearance is unbelievable. I'm sure there's a lot of settling to do, especially here in the front. I really had to put a rush on this because I have a wheel alignment appointment for tomorrow, so it's ready to go. And here it is after the alignment's been done. It drives really nice. The tires are quiet. There's no real body roll without having the sway bars in it. I'm just really pleased with the turnout. It's like a little mini 4Runner or something like that. A little closer look in here at the tire to the perch. So I mean, there's not a whole lot more you can actually go, but I think I can still get on something a little bigger than what I have on there now. Clearance from the front side, you can see how low those control arms hang. But overall, I am very happy with the way it turned out. Couldn't expect a whole lot better than that. Since this video kind of started with tires, I decided, well, I might as well show you these. These are the new winter tires that I bought for the Impreza. They're mounted on the Legacy GTB JDM rims that I bought many years ago and had on my old Impreza. This is my new winter wheel setup, and we'll talk about this a little bit more when I go to mount them on in another video. But really, the inside of the Forester needs a good cleaning, and it's not terrible, but I want to get it cleaned up before winter. So I've got it all vacuumed out and wiped down. Yeah, there's plenty of stains in the back here, but this is my workhorse. The back seat's really clean. I rarely use it. The seats are usually folded down just because I'm putting stuff in it. The front's all cleaned up really nice, and I know I must have seen this handle before, but it looks brand new, like I've never seen it. It looks like it's being operated, but it was actually back here. It's a lumbar support handle, so it'll actually flex out the bottom of the seat, and that could come in handy during long drives on the highway. And the final touch is the WeatherTech floor mats. You can see how well the custom molding actually fits, but I wish the footrest actually came up a little bit higher instead of having your foot here and then water running down in behind the floor mat. But they're installed, and I'm thinking I'm going to pack up because we're going to go on a little trip. Now, after the last time I actually turned the camera on, I got sick, believe it or not. So I literally finished cleaning the inside of the Forester. I loaded it up with a bunch of gear. I spent the rest of the afternoon in my yard mowing my lawn and getting rid of some of the brush. After doing that, I went inside and I could tell something was coming on. This was on Saturday. And then Saturday night I had a really rough sleep and just felt like shit. So yesterday, Sunday, I ended up deciding, okay, there's no way I'm going anywhere. I'm gonna have to at least take the one day to recoup. And I did really well. Not earlier in the day, but as the day went on, I ended up taking a Neocitran before bed. I slept really well last night. I ended up waking up early and then going back to bed. So at least after getting that second sleep in, I'm feeling like at least going for a little adventure drive. I'm thinking we're gonna head out to the spot I was going to go camp, and at least it'll let me check it out for possibly camping out there next weekend. It's an hour away, so I better get my ass moving here. Okay, to be honest, I really don't know if I am where I'm supposed to be or not. I'm pretty sure this is the trail that takes you back up in between the mountains towards a set of falls that it's at the back there. I've never been in here before, so I'm not 100% sure if this is it. But I decided, well, this is where I'm going anyway. Should be a little bit of a test for the Forester to be able to drive through here. And probably could have made it before doing the tires and lift, but I got to keep this part of it short because I know I passed the train on the way here and I can start to hear it coming. The railroad's right over here. Maybe you guys can hear it. As I first pulled in, there was actually like, I don't even know what it was. It was black with a little white tip of a tail, the size of a fox. Oh yeah, it's coming. So this is definitely it. I just saw a sign that kind of indicated where I was. And it's going to be a little bit of a slow ride through here. There's a little bit of a beachfront and a river up ahead. I'm walking through all this, no problem. Come up to a fork in the road. This one looks a little bit muddy, so that's where we're going. There's a lot of logging going on in here. Oh, I might not get through this. Getting up here, it's all just logging. Looks quite old, and it's been like this for quite some time. It's probably not many people actually even come up here, maybe the four-wheelers and side-by-sides. I think it does go quite a bit further that way, but I really want to kind of head over to this beach and at least closer to the river to see what that's all about. So I've just kind of come into where what they're calling the campsite, or the camping. The river's kind of just over there, and I notice all these little side trails that appear to be going into the campsites, or might be even an outhouse in there. Yeah, like some of this stuff is pretty gnarly out here for camping. But yeah, I guess these are just the little campsites in here. I saw a picnic table over at one of them. The terrain is very uneven. It's like the four-wheeler's been ripping through here. Probably snowmobiles in the winter. Yeah, I think we'll turn around at this one here. Oh. Get no severe rubbing. Kind of heard that rub as I turned left. I'll turn on this one. And I think a lot of people just, especially if they have a camper or actually pulled a trailer in here, they can just set up here right on the beach. Let's take a look around. Looks like someone was recently out here and they just left. You can actually see the coals are still red. But I'm not down with having a fire right now. Don't plan on spending too much time out here. One of the first things that I do like to see, just looking around, other than those pumpkins, they're biodegradable. There is no garbage. For how heavily used this area is, people are doing a really good job of keeping it clean. Just come over and check out the water. Basically just a mountain valley, and all the water running off the mountains flows into the river, takes it down out to the Skeena River. You can see how much of the foliage is turning color. When the sun comes out, you can really see it bounce off those yellow leaves. So the rain picked up again, and I just come out of it. I don't really feel like standing in it while I'm sick, but there's a couple other little things to talk about. The wheel alignment. I'll kind of post picture before and after, and I took it to the old place I worked and gave it to my old apprentice to align for me. He couldn't even do the caster sweep or the sweep on it properly because it was so far out to begin with, but he did a really nice job by the end of it. Honestly, on the highway, even without those sway bars, you almost can't tell. I mean, you can tell there's a lift in it, but you almost can't tell by the way that it drives. It just drives like a normal Subaru. It's very responsive. There is the slightest little sway to it when you're really jerking on the wheel, but with the brand new suspension, it corrects it right away and flattens the thing out. The low center gravity drivetrain in the Subarus really assist in that, I think. And so yeah, not having the sway bars in it, I don't even notice it. Now, as for the overall ride height change, I don't know exactly what it is offhand, but I did take pictures before and after. So pictures before I even started the lift, and then completely done after sagging a little bit. So, I mean, it's considerable difference with the tires and lift alone. Another thing that I actually did for the Forester before starting any of this was I actually replaced the windshield. It's probably something you guys won't ever notice, but this windshield was split all the way from that corner all the way halfway up here, and then halfway up here. Had like bullet shots all over the thing, like 3 big ones. It was in horrible shape. So I finally got the glass replaced, and I think what I'm gonna do is head down that way next. So I've gotten back on the main trail and come a little bit further in to another fork in the road, and one road goes high and one stays low. This says it's unmaintained, but it looks like vehicles been going through, and I'm pretty sure there's another parking lot at the other end because that's where the actual falls are. I suppose a lot of people just park right here and end up walking it, but I am not going to be going any further today, I don't think. I just start to feel my throat getting a little sore again, and that's just the indicator to me that I should probably head home into the warmth and where it's dry. But this was a good little trip. I'm glad that I got it in, and I think we'll do a little outro when I get home. And this should give you an idea what the weather techs are doing. Just one trip. Now, as short as that trip was, it still allowed me to judge where the suspension lies on the Forester, both highway and trail, and it is beyond my expectations, believe it or not. It's really smooth on the highway. The tires are nice and quiet. I did expect them to make a little bit more noise, and I can hear them a little bit, but honestly, the window gussets make a lot more noise than the tires. So they're something that's on my list to eventually do. And both the clearance and traction were not an issue at all at any point. So even that first real dip, I don't know if that was a washout or some machinery did that, but you could tell where a couple people had bottomed out on it, and I thought I was gonna rub on the front bumper, and I just made it right through. I was amazed. A lot of those little lumps and tiny hills, the shorter wheelbase just makes it so easy to get over them. So I'm really eager to get out there again. I just don't know when that's going to be, if I'll be planning for next weekend, but I'm going to start putting a lot of that style footage over onto the other channel, and I'll always kind of give a heads up on this one just for the viewers that actually do want to go over and see that kind of thing. The next video should be getting the Impreza ready for winter. It still does need alignment as well. I just figured I'd wait to get the winter tires mounted onto it, even though I drove on the summers for at least 6 weeks. But anyways, if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below. And I'll see you in the next one.